Okay, so in this second part of our tutorial on creating a skateboarding icon, we are going to create the 32 pixel glyph version of the icon. So we started from the outline version. So if you missed part 1 of this tutorial, you can you will find the link in the description of the video. And okay, let's move on. So the reason why we started from the outline version is just because it's simpler. It's way easier to start from the outline version because as we were saying before, you deal mostly with lines. So you can just go ahead and use the pen tool to draw your lines. So I'm duplicating the outline version, and I'm going to use this as a skeleton for the glyph version. So, so one piece of advice before we move on. So why it's easier to use the outline version as the reference and skeleton of the glyph version as well. Well, it's because when you expand an icon in Illustrator, so when you expand a path, then modifying that path becomes really difficult. So, for example, if I want to change the rotation of this arm, I should do something like selecting these 2 points, and then I can go and change, but as you can see, the icon is kind of skewed, and I should then go and select the anchor point and change this as well. But yeah, it's kind of a nightmare. So we are sticking with the outline version until we have until we are as close as possible to the glyph version, and then we can expand the icon and save it. Okay, so let's start. First of all, we want to turn the head into the glyph version of the head, so with no stroke and with the field value. Then we want to create the body, and once again, my suggestion will be to start with an element, with a path, with a stroke value. So I'm picking just a random value for now, and then I'm changing the cap to round. And then I'm going to increase the size so that I have the body of the icon. So now it's too close, we can remove this point, and yeah, so don't worry if the glyph version looks thinner compared to the outline version. It's totally fine. Then we can isolate the legs, and we are going to isolate the arms as well from the shoulders. So I'm using the scissor tool. So basically you can just select it and then click anywhere you want on the path, and it's going to split the path in 2, and you can just, remove unwanted pieces of the path. Okay, now let's move stuff around so we can get closer to a nice version of the icon. We can remove the roundness from the corners of the path because we are going to use a different kind of corner, which is the round corner. Here we go. So which is going to create the roundness automatically. Okay, so if we zoom out, well, it's starting to look fine, but I think the arms are too thin. So we can increase the arms thickness from 2 to 3 pixels. Okay. So now if we want to make sure to align these paths to the grid that you see in the background, it's quite difficult now to move it on points unless you change the view to snap to pixel. In this case, Illustrator is smart enough to understand you have a different value for the stroke, and if you want to align it, then it's going to move in the middle of the little cells of our grid. So we are basically doing this. But just to show you, another option will be to select the element and then press Shift Command M for removing the element, and then you can go and translate it by half a pixel. So minus 0.5 and minus 0.5. So here we go. It's aligned as well. Okay, so now we are moving this one, and we are getting this head closer here. I'm gonna push this back a little. Here we go. This one, we're going to translate it of a negative value of minus 0.5. Here we go. We can change skateboard a little. We can probably change the roundness of the skateboard as well. Back a little, down a little. Okay, so okay, now the next step is going to be we can select all the elements, and notice I picked a different color just for the body so that we can see better, you know, where our shapes are positioned, and then we can select all of them and reduce the opacity. So why are we doing this? So select the body, press Command 2 to lock it. Now what you want to do is you want to tweak the path and move it around so that the edges of your path are aligned with confined with the edges of the body. So in this case, for example, I'm turning off the snap to pixel and the snap to grid, and I'm moving this up a little. Okay, now I'm doing the same for the leg. Back like that. Now don't worry if it's not perfect, because we are going to make it perfect. So select this back leg, we can hide it pressing Command 3. Now it's time to expand our element. So we can just unlock the body, select all three of these elements and expand. Okay, I'm going to lock the body again. Now we can zoom in, we can switch to outline view, and now if I select this element here, we are going to move it right here. You see, if you have smart guides enabled, Illustrator will tell you when you basically when your path is touching the other path. And we are doing the same for the leg. We can go here and position this right here in the intersection. Okay, great. So let's switch back to the standard view. We can optionally select. Okay, let me unlock the body. We can optionally select these three elements here, and then we can just merge them. And yeah, I think it's exactly what we're going to do. But so I was thinking about the wrist and the ankle, because we can make them smaller. Because if we zoom out and check the icon, I mean, it's nice, looks very sharp. Okay, maybe the arms are a little too long compared to the legs, but you know, it's fine. We are moving really fast in this example, in this tutorial. But we may want to reduce the size of the wrists a little, just because I think the icon looks it looks better. Just a small detail, and you can do it or not. So we can, for example, select this anchor point here and move it down a little of 0.25, and again. Okay, so we can do the same here. we can create a circle which is going to be 2.5, sorry, 2.5 and 2.5. Now switch to outline mode if you want to be super precise. And then generally I select and move the anchor point which is connected with a straight line. Because if I do the same thing on the other side here and I select this anchor point, I'm going to mess up with the radius here. So try to select always the right anchor point. Okay, and I'm moving this here. Now we can take this and remove it. We don't need it anymore for the moment. Okay, so zoom out to check the icon. It's really a small detail what we just did, but it's really nice. Now, if you want to be really super precise, then if you zoom in, you may notice that there are a couple of extra anchor points created when we merged the paths of the body and the arms. So what you can do, you can just select this point, drag it out, and remove it. Yeah, if you click, okay. This is gone. Probably the same happened here. No matter how precise you try to be, there is always going to be some extra points we can get rid of. Okay, like this, so that the SVG code export is going to be way cleaner and it's going to be easier to modify the icon if you need to. Now, I'm going to remove some of the pixels from the leg as well, just so that we can have a separation between the body of our icon and the skateboard. If this is too much, we can just move this down of 1 pixel. Then we can bring back the back leg. We can expand it as well. We can use this mask here to once again reduce the size of the ankle. In this case, you can see it's really snappy because we have the snap to pixel, snap to grid enable. You can just disable it and then you can move it freely. Once again, we are targeting the anchor point which is on the side where we have the straight line. Okay, here we go. Let's move this down a little so that it looks a little more realistic. Can remove it, and finally we can select the body, go to object, path, sorry, you can go object, path, and offset path. I'm going to select 2 pixels. Okay, this is going to create a copy of the body which is bigger by 2 pixels on each side, and with this selected and the leg as well, you want to click on the minus front. Here we go. We can zoom out, we can translate, so we can move the icon up by 1 pixel. We can center it better by moving it to the left of 1 pixel. And as a final touch, we may want to expand all of the elements which are not expanded. And I think we're done. So we can zoom out and take a look at our icon from a real side, so let's say. So this is how 32 pixels will look like on a web page, and I think it looks really nice. Now that we are happy with it, we can just export it by pressing Option Command E, and this time we're exporting this icon. Once again, same folder. Let's go, and we can import it as well into the same group along with the outline version. Let's select all states here, and here we go. So we have the first 2 icons ready. The 32 pixel version is ready. Now in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can add more details, do something a little more complicated by switching to a bigger size, which is 64 pixel. And okay, so I'll see you in the next tutorial.